Well, I made the hour and something drive to get to 4-wheel parts, and so next time y'all see this, it will be with a lift on it, and hopefully there's a difference.
My story is the story of a man who starts off at the bottom, and with a bit of hard work, continues along the bottom, and finally ends up at the bottom. Hey, this is Classic Cars and Comics. Thank y'all very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's roll. So before we get too far into this, the bigger wheels and tires that I put on there, the 33-inch wheels and tires, they gave it a 1-inch lift. They went from 20 to this little section that we're looking at up to 21. So this is at least a good starting point for where we're going to be pre-lift. So let's get on to a tour of the 4-wheel parts.
Now, it definitely has a little bit more lift to it, it looks like. I have to get out the old measuring stick on it, but it looks like it's got a little extra lift to it. Looks like some more room back here in this back fender well for sure, but looks like it's got quite a bit more clearance, I guess, I hope. So we'll give a more thorough look at some point in the daylight, but that's at least what it looks like now. I know the light is crap, but I actually struggled a little bit getting up in here. I said, woo! Yeah, it lifted a little bit. So I really wasn't expecting much lift. And so it clearly let me know that I did get maybe an inch or two. We'll see once I get home and measure it, but it does feel higher now. It did feel like a little bit more of a hike to get up in there. I clearly know it's dark and it's hard to see me, probably hard to hear me. This ride's so much smoother now. I really enjoyed this part so far. Okay, you are going to see it whenever I see it. We're going to see whether or not the lift did anything for us. Let's go back over here to our little trusty measuring point. So initially with the 31-inch tires, it measured at 20. Then with the 33-inch tires, it measured at 21. I'm going to assume here we might have gotten maybe to 22, maybe 23. Let's see. All right, so about 22 and a half. I mean, that's where I feel comfortable at. So the lift gave it another inch and a half of lift, because there was some kind of lift on here to begin with, but or some kind of like spring kit or something. But anyways, so I went from 20 up to 22 and a half with just bigger tires and a 3-inch lift. And I think probably, let's see, 1 inch for the tires, inch and a half. So it was probably inch and a half or maybe a 2-inch lift, I guess, at some point. I don't know where my math's at on that, but pretty close to there. So I definitely got a little bit of lift, and I'm happy, because I thought it might be close to a wash today, but it actually sets up a little bit higher. I wish I would have measured the fender wells, but I can clearly see that there's a lot more travel room in there, and so on and so forth. So I'll bring you back in the daylight and we'll look at some of the rest of the stuff. Well, just gave her a bath after the lift, and sun's out and shining, so figured I'd clean it up a little bit. It's got a good stance now. I like it. Got these little doodads added. Guess that's a place to put the pin, I guess. There's the Teraflex spring. New Teraflex shock, bump stop. So yeah, pretty good little stance. I like it. Teraflex spring.
Okay, you will come with me and we'll look at all prices associated with a business. My brother Billo, he is a crunching numbers, and he had given me this number. So let's look, ain't we? So out the door, we had a total cost of $2,338.55. I had the Teraflex part number 1241350 installed. That price was $1,274.99. I was able to get a discount on that at $63.75 because they matched a competitor's offer. And that brought it down to $1211.24. Then I had some of this, like you're going to see this SHO1, that's their shop fees, I believe. And it cost $600 to install that. Then I had this Teraflex steering stabilizer 1513001 installed. That was, I think that's a $70.99 part. And then, these, every time you see the SHO, that's how much they charge me on fees. So that's at least that part explained. The only other part of this is the rear pinion seal needing to be replaced. This is what I paid. I believe it was the $110.80, $17.50, and $12.60 to get that replaced. This is a check sheet that they provided to me that showed what parts they suggested getting replaced. They didn't need to be done that day. It was safe to drive home, but I needed to replace the ball joints. I needed to replace the track bar. They recommended that I replace the wheel unit bearings, like the front wheel bearings on the driver's side. Replace shocks, so we did that. Recommended a 4-link or a wheel alignment, and I did that. They recommended replacing the steering kit, the drag link. Also recommended replacing the axle seals. Now let's look at what their cost to perform all these things, buy the parts and perform all the labor would be. So the first recommended part was the rock jock, the correct length, I think is what that says, heavy duty tie rod system. That's a $628 part. Now from everything I've heard, rock jock is supposedly pretty good equipment. So that's a $628 part. Then we go down to the Teraflex Dana 30 upper and lower ball joints without knurling. That's a $307.99 part. Then we have this Rubicon Express front adjustable track bar. Now, a lot of people hate Rubicon Express, but this part actually comes pretty highly recommended. But I'm going a different direction with that. I'm going to do the Teraflex adjustable track bar. I believe it's going to cost me a little bit more money, but I think it's going to be an easier process to set it up. With my lift kit, they did not include rear bump stops. So now they were already in that area. It just sort of upsets me that we were already in that area. They didn't have any rear bump stops in stock. And now I'm going to have that done, and we were already in that area. So that is frustrating. And then you can see all the other little parts and labor and everything else that's going to be associated with doing this job. It's just frustrating about the rear bump stops, but let's move forward. So some of this I plan on trying to do myself, and then the rest of it I'll probably outsource it. So all in all, I'm really happy with the progress that's been made thus far. I was happy with the way that 4-Wheel Parts treated me. I was there all day long. Was able to watch a couple movies, get a couple other things done. So that worked out really well. And, the only frustrating part, I've sort of vented about this already, was that rear bump stop stuff. Like, that should have been included in this kit, or it should have been mentioned from the jump. Now, I will say, in 4-Wheel Parts defense, this is something I orchestrated over the phone. This is not something where they previously looked at my vehicle, they inspected it. Now, if you live closer to one, my suggestion is to take it to them, let them look at it, see what all it needs, and then go from there. This was some guesswork on my point, or on my part, so I'm not holding them at fault for that. I think that should have been included in the kit, but I digress. So, really good. I really like the stance now. I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. More videos to come. I'm going to try to install some of these parts myself. And then it's sort of like, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Here come the hobbits. Hey, love y'all a long time. Stay tuned. We got more stuff coming, man. This is wonderful stuff. Yeah!